So we'll start with the most important subject that is nothing but engineering mechanics. And in engineering mechanics, the most important part will be it will be there for 14 marks, and out of that, 7 marks will be there for this statics, and 7 marks will be there for dynamics. So accordingly, you have to prepare for the exam. So we will start with some basic concepts of engineering mechanics, that too in statics, for today, for both the lectures in the morning session and evening session. And then we will have one test in the evening, so that we will get what is uh, the points which is not clear, what are the points which are clear, and accordingly we will proceed for the next lectures. So I hope you all are good, and many of you have liked this particular part. And the last lecture which we have conducted, where we have discussed the syllabus and how to go about it. In addition to that, there are many professors who have joined today also. I uh, wish them that they are also be the part of this particular campaign. If necessary, I will ask them to have some lectures also on this particular platform, so that we can share their knowledge also. In addition to that, I think many of you have not registered for mechanics, this particular module. So it is my request before the start of the lecture that though you have registered for the basic link, you have to register for the mechanics link also, which has been provided by me yesterday through mail to all of you, right? So we'll go ahead with the basic concept of engineering mechanics. So you can see mechanics of rigid bodies. Then there are various types of bodies which are there, which are mentioned in the syllabus. The basics are uh, the rigid body, and the second is nothing but the flexible body. Now, rigid bodies are the bodies which do not deform under the action of loads applied. So when you apply the load, there will be deformation produced inside the body. So after the removal of that particular deformation, or after the application of that particular load, there will not be any kind of deformation, change in the shape or size of the body. Then it is called as rigid body. Whatever discussion we are going to do, or other which is there in your syllabus, is for the engineering mechanics for the rigid bodies only. We are nothing to do with the the other part which is there. So it is divided into two parts, that is nothing but statics and dynamics. Statics is nothing but the study of rigid bodies at rest under the action of forces. Now, as you know, when the body is at rest, when all the forces acting on it are equally oppositely balanced, we are calling it as the equilibrium condition. Then when we are calculating the effect of that particular force on the body, when the body is in the rest condition, we are calling it as the statics problem. Whereas when the body is moving, right, the word motion is important. So when the body is in the moving condition, when we are calculating what is the impact of the force on that particular body, that problems comes under the dynamics. If the body is moving with a constant acceleration, again this is the problem of uh, the dynamics. So statics and dynamics are the two parts. Then the most important basic concept is a force. As everyone knows, anything that tends to change the state of rest of the body is called as force. Force is a vector quantity. F is equal to m into a is the formula for force, right? Many times I ask the question, define force. People used to say F is equal to ma. That is the formula. But what is the definition of the force? Force is nothing but it is a vector quantity defined by magnitude as well as in direction, and anything that tends to change the state of rest of the body. स्टेट ऑफ रेस्ट बॉडीचा ज्या ज्या पद्धतीने चेंज होतो, ज्यामुळे चेंज होतो, त्याला आपण त्या ठिकाणी आपण फोर्स असं म्हणतो, राईट? सो now we will see in the force, what is the unit of the force? The unit of the force is Newton. 1000 Newton is equal to 1 kilonewton, and 1 Newton is equal to 1 kg meter per second square. So accordingly, the unit of the force is Newton or kilonewton. So what you have to by heart, first is the definition of the force. Anything that tends to change the state of rest of the body is called as force, number one. Number two, the force is a vector quantity. Number three, the unit of the force is Newton. 1000 Newton is equal to 1 kilonewton. Then specifications, how to define a force. So if I ask you, define a force, many may say that 10 kilonewton, 1000 Newton, 150 kilonewton, but this is not the correct way of specifying the force. While specifying the force, you should know its magnitude, you should know its direction, and you should know what is its point of application. If you know all those three things, which are very important, then you can definitely say that the force is defined completely. So you should know its magnitude. So whatever you are saying, 10 kilonewton, 20 kilonewton, 100 kilonewton is the magnitude of the force. Direction, it is going from left to right, it is going from right to left, whether it is going from yes, Rohit sir. Rohit sir.
Sir, one thing I would like to mention.
Huh.
Sir, one thing I would like to mention. Dimensions of force, sir.
Dimensions of the force. Yes.
In previously, yes, previously in the mains paper, they had asked dimension of the forces in the fluid mechanics chapter, fluid mechanics section. In the
Yes.
mains, they ask. That's why it
Okay.
might be asked over here also, sir.
Yes, yes, yes. So the dimensions of the force, or how to define a force, it is defined by magnitude, direction, and point of application. Now, when we study in the next part of the lecture, that is the two-dimensional force system, three-dimensional force system, forces in space, CFS, PFS, and GFS, concurrent force system, parallel force system, and generalized force system, these dimensions of the force concept will get clear. So for time being, for defining the force, we should know its magnitude, we should know its direction, we should know its point of application, where it is acting. That point of application should be known to everyone. Now, what is the impact of the force? As you know, when we apply the force, the body will change from the state of rest. But what is the other impacts of the force? The other impact of the force, the most common impact, is known as moment of a force. When you are calculating the product of, or the magnitude of, or product of the force and its perpendicular distance between the point of application of the force and the point at which you are calculating its effect, then it is called as the movement of the force. You can easily see in the diagram. So this is the rigid body, and this is the force. As we know, force will be requiring its direction, point of application. This is LDA, line of action of force, LOE. So line of action of force, and this is the distance between the point of application and force, the point at which we are calculating the movement. So if we are calculating the movement over here, then force multiplied by perpendicular distance between these 2 points is nothing but its movement. Now, since force is a vector quantity, movement is also a vector quantity. Therefore, it should be defined by magnitude as well as by direction. So what are the directions which are possible? Will be two directions which are possible for the movement. First will be clockwise movement, and second is anti-clockwise movement. So clockwise movement, we can observe over here, when you are calculating any kind of movement, you should go with your right hand thumb, and then you have to put your right hand thumb the point at which you are calculating the movement. For example, if you are using this particular right hand, you have to keep your right hand thumb the point at which you are calculating the movement, and then try to figure out the direction of the force. So if it is going towards right, it will produce clockwise movement. If it is going towards left, it will be producing the anti-clockwise movement. So accordingly, you should first calculate whether the force is going in which direction, and accordingly you will be getting its direction. That is, either it will be a clockwise movement or anti-clockwise movement. So you can observe over here, this is the anti-clockwise movement. So the movement is defined as the product of force and the perpendicular distance between the line of action of force and the point at which you are calculating the movement. So movement is given by the formula F into A, where F is the force and A is the moment arm. Then its unit will be, so it is very simple. Force unit Newton असेल, distance unit meter असेल, the Newton meter will be the unit of movement. So in this way, the first part which is there, force is over. Then the second part which is there, that is nothing but movement is over. There are some notes. These notes are very important. Reason being, yesterday's lecture only I have told you that the engineering mechanics from last 3 years we have observed that almost 60 to 70% theoretical question has been asked in MPSC. So you should prepare such type of small notes properly, by heart them, then and then you can able to answer the questions which are there on theory. So the basic concepts needs to be clear. So over here it has been mentioned the first note. So these notes are very important. Take it down. If you are having your pen and pencil ready, take it down. Movement has turning effect on the body. So this can be one of the MCQs. What is the impact or the effect of movement on the body? So it will give the turning effect on the body. Then the second point, movement vector is normal to the plane at which the force is applied. The normal means making an angle of 90 degrees. So movement vector is normal to the plane in which the force is applied. So if the force is applied in the XY plane, the Z direction will be the direction along which the movement will be acting. So it will be acting normal to the plane at which it will be acting. So you can observe this particular diagram. X and Y are the if this particular force is there in a two-dimensional force system, then along the Y the movement will act, along the Z there will be movement which will be applied. So these are some sign conventions to be used. Again, these sign conventions are not having any kind of you can say की असंच वापरलं पाहिजे असं काही नाही. These are the sign conventions used by me generally. The force which is going towards right positive, left negative. If the force is going up positive, down negative, clockwise movement is negative and anti-clockwise is positive. If somebody says no, if Pote sir says, Rohit sir says that I am having clockwise movement as positive and anti-clockwise as negative, will it do? Yes, it will do, but he has to use that particular sign convention throughout the solving of that particular example. So whatever sign convention you are using, mention it, right? When there is a written paper, obviously it is not the written paper in MPSC, so it will be objective type of question, whether that particular sign conventions are used throughout the journey of that particular solving of the example is same or not. That will define whether answer is correct or not. So force is a vector quantity, movement is a vector quantity, so they should have directions, and for that particular direction we are having some sign convention. If the force is going towards right positive, towards left negative, force is going to in the upward direction positive, downward direction negative, clockwise movement negative, anti-clockwise positive. So in this way, these are the sign conventions of the force. Now there is a most important part which is there, that is orthogonal force system. When force is acting exactly along the x-axis, exactly along the y-axis, then there will not be any kind of problem. We can define it. It is going towards right, it will be positive. It is going upward, it will be negative. If it is going towards left, upwards, it will be positive. If it is going left, it will be negative. Downward, it will be negative. So when it is acting along the axis, there will not be any kind of problem. But if it is making some angle, then how to resolve that particular force? So this particular resolution is nothing but orthogonal force system for the component of the force. You can observe it. This is a force making an angle of theta with the horizontal. So x component of the force is f cos theta, whereas y component is f sin theta. सगळ्यात सिंपल गोष्ट जी लक्षात ठेवायची आहे या ठिकाणी, ज्याच्या बरोबर अँगल दिला आहे तो कंपोनंट कॉस आणि राहिलेला कंपोनंट साइन. In the MPSC exam, you are not supposed to use any kind of calculator. So you should know 30, 60, 90, 45 या सगळ्याचे साइन आणि कॉस कंपोनंट तुमचे पाठ पाहिजेत. अदरवाइज तुम्हाला सगळं माहिती असून सुद्धा तुमचे आन्सर्स काढता येणार नाहीत. त्यामुळे it is request from my side for the next lecture while coming, you should by heart that particular table of sine and cos for the angles, specific angles 30, 60, 90, 45, right? And accordingly you will be answering the orthogonal force system. You can observe over here, this is the force, so fx and fy are the x and y orthogonal components of the force in the direction x direction or x axis and y axis. So for example, जसं मी मगाशी सांगितलं, ज्याच्या बरोबर अँगल दिला आहे तो कंपोनंट कॉस आणि दुसरा साइन, ही एकमेव गोष्ट जर व्यवस्थित लक्षात ठेवली, there will not be any kind of problem for calculation of orthogonal forces in x and y direction. You can observe over here, this is the force making an angle of theta with respect to vertical. So if it is making an angle of theta with vertical, ज्याच्या बरोबर अँगल दिला आहे तो कंपोनंट कॉस, त्यामुळे fy कंपोनंट तुमचा झाला कॉस आणि fx कंपोनंट झाला साइन. व्हेरी सिंपल. ज्याच्या बरोबर अँगल दिला आहे तो कंपोनंट कॉस आणि दुसरा कंपोनंट साइन. हे एकमेव गोष्ट लक्षात ठेवणं गरजेचं आहे. सो दिस इज द काइंड ऑफ concurrent force system for which you are expected to calculate what will be the resultant of the force. We are going to in detail in this particular lecture. In addition to that, the next lecture, the what is the meaning of resultant, what is the meaning of equilibrium, what is the meaning of equilibrium state, right? So this is the CFS system, concurrent force system, where you are expected to calculate what is the impact of all these forces or the cumulative effect of all these forces. That is nothing but the value of equilibrium. So you are expected to calculate fx. ज्याच्या बरोबर अँगल दिला आहे तो कंपोनंट कॉस, ज्याच्या बरोबर अँगल दिला आहे तो कंपोनंट कॉस आणि दुसरा साइन. अशा पद्धतीने तुम्ही कॅल्क्युलेट करून you are expected to calculate resultant by using the formula. This particular formula is to be used. That is nothing but the r is equal to root of fx square plus fy square, and alpha, it is the angle made by resultant with respect to x-axis. This with respect to x-axis is very important. If you are calculating with respect to x-axis, the formula will be fy by fx. If you are calculating with respect to y-axis, the formula will be fx by fy. So ज्याच्या बरोबर अँगल कॅल्क्युलेट करतो आहे, राइट, तो तुमचा डिनॉमिनेटरला राहणार आहे while calculating the angle with respect to the resultant for that particular force system. Now what is the resultant? This particular point will be clear. It is a single action which can produce the same effect as that of the system of forces. If many forces are acting, right, on a single point or in generalized force system at different points, what is the effect of all these forces? If you combine them, the single action produced due to all these forces is nothing but its resultant. So single action which can produce the same effect as that of the system of the forces, it is called as resultant. Again, the most important part is coming, that is nothing but notes. Resultant can be a force or a movement. By heart it. All the notes needs to be by hearted. All these are MCQs. What is the MCQ that can be drafted over here? Resultant, can it be? Khali option, force, movement, both, none of this. So you are expected answer should be it can be a force or it can be a movement also. So force or movement will be your answer. So resultant हा force पण असू शकतो आणि तुमचा movement पण असू शकतो. आता जर इक्विलिब्रंट म्हणजे काय असं विचारलं तर काय असतं इक्विलिब्रंट? It is a single action when added to the system, the system will become in equilibrium. Resultant जो असतो तेवढा रिझल्टंटचा फोर्स फक्त अपोजिट डायरेक्शन मध्ये तुम्ही त्या फोर्स सिस्टीम मध्ये टाकला की ती सिस्टीम इक्विलिब्रियम मध्ये जाणार आहे. रिझन बिंग इक्वल अँड अपोजिट फोर्सेस विल ऍक्ट ऑन इट. जो फोर्स तुम्ही त्या सिस्टीम मध्ये ऍड केल्यानंतर सिस्टीम इक्विलिब्रियम मध्ये जाईल त्या फोर्सला इक्विलिब्रंट असं म्हणतात. म्हणजेच इक्विलिब्रंट हा तुमच्या इक्विलिब्रियम साठी कारणीभूत असणारा फोर्स आहे आणि तो रिझल्टंटचा भाऊ आहे. आणि फक्त डिफरन्स काय आहे, त्याचं मॅग्निट्यूड हे रिझल्टंट एवढंच असतं, फक्त त्याची डायरेक्शन अपोजिट डायरेक्शन ऑफ रिझल्टंट असते. If the resultant is acting from left to right, the equilibrant will act from right to left. So that equilibrant and resultant, they are having equal magnitude but different direction. So equilibrant is equal in magnitude as that of resultant but opposite in direction. Very important concept. So what is the meaning of force is clear. What is the meaning of the movement is clear. The sign conventions are clear. Orthogonal force system is clear. Now what is the meaning of resultant is clear. Now what is the meaning of equilibrant is clear to everyone. So I hope everything is going good. Now there is one word which is continuously coming, which is known as equilibrium. What is the meaning of equilibrium? Equilibrium is a state of rest. State of rest means each and every particle of that particular body is at rest. So all the forces acting on that particular body are equal in oppositely balanced. Then we are calling it as the system is in equilibrium. Now, one example I wanted to quote to have the difference between rigid bodies and flexible bodies. The rigid bodies are nothing but the bodies which are after the application of the force cannot be deformed. Right? For example, right? If you see this particular example, if this is my mobile is having a different particles, right, come together to form this particular mobile. So if this is my A point and this is my B point, and if I apply the force, whether this particular distance between the two particles of the force changes? No, they are at that particular points only. Therefore this is called as the rigid body. On the other hand, if you observe this particular wire, right, so this is A point, this is B point. If I apply the force, the distance between the particles of the body changes. This is called as flexible body, right? Therefore, you should understand that this particular engineering mechanics, whichever we are studying, it is for rigid bodies, right? Therefore, equilibrium is nothing but the state of rest of the body. Again, the note is coming. Take it down. For the system to be in equilibrium, resultant must be equal to 0. Must be. Resultant ha zeroच असला पाहिजे. If the resultant is existing any force which is tending to change the state of the rest of the body, if there is still presence of that particular force, then you cannot say that the system is in equilibrium. To have the system is in equilibrium or at rest, the resultant must be equal to 0, right? Then comes the concept of transmissibility of the force. Very important concept. A force can be transferred at any point along its line of action to produce the same effect on the body. For example, so if this is a rigid body, the force is acting at this particular point A, making an angle of theta, So when I apply this particular force at this particular point, I can transfer this force anywhere on its line of action. Force ha upon त्याच्या line of action, keeping line of action same, means if I calculate this particular theta at point B with respect to horizontal should be same, then we can transfer it anywhere in its line of action of force. That is called as the transmissibility of the force principle. So you have to keep this particular angle constant. Direction of the force is also constant. If the force is acting upwards, you should have the upward direction of transfer of that particular force along the line of action. You cannot say that it is going down. So the arrow is important. If the force is going upwards, it should go upward. We can keep this particular theta constant. We are calling it as the the transmissibility of the force principle. So you can transfer the force anywhere in its line of action. Transfer of the force not along the line of action of the force is nothing but what you call it as the calculation of the moment. That is, we are calculating the impact or the effect of the force other than that particular line of action of the force. That means what? On the other point, means you should know what is the distance between these 2 points, so that you can easily calculate what is the effect of that particular force at that point. The effect of the force at that point is nothing but its movement. So while transferring it, the force will also transfer, and in addition to that, there will be the addition of the movement at that particular point. Are you getting the point or not? If the force is transferred along the same line of action, there will not be any kind of movement which will be generated. If you are transferring the force not along the line of the force, line of action of the force, other than the line of action of the force, then the force can be transferred by adding movement to it. So movement is defined as force multiplied by perpendicular distance. So that addition will give the transfer of the force. So when the force is transferred not along the line of action, it is necessary to calculate a force couple system to produce the same effect on that particular body. So moment couple can be transferred anywhere in the plane to produce same effect on the body. Very important concept की movement couple आपण कुठेही transfer करू शकतो, right, in the plane, obviously, to produce the same effect on the body. Reason being, if the force is acting along two-dimensional force system, the movement is acting in the third direction, राईट. देअरफॉर तो तिसऱ्या ऍक्सिसला ऍक्ट होण्यामुळे तो आपण कुठं जरी अप्लाय केला तरी त्याचा सेम इफेक्ट बॉडीवरती, कारण त्या टर्निंग इफेक्ट देणार आहे बॉडीला, त्यामुळं दॅट इज व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट फॉर द कॅल्क्युलेशन. Then comes the types of force system. The types of force system are nothing but two-dimensional force system and three-dimensional force system. Concurrent force system, right? Then the PFS, parallel force system, and GFS, generalized force system. So first we will see the two-dimensional and three-dimensional force system. Two-dimensional, as its name suggested, the forces acting along the two directions, that is x-axis and y-axis. Three-dimensional force system, that is nothing but forces acting along the space, right? So in one of the part which is there in engineering mechanics where you are using this particular three-dimensional force system is nothing but the space forces. Space forces मध्ये x, y, z तिन्ही dimensions consider करावे लागतात. Actually in nature there is all the forces are acting in the three-dimensional force system. Therefore two-dimensional force system चा विचार करता it is acting only on the two axes x and y, or x and z, or y and z, any combination, this particular two-dimensional force system will act. Now concurrent force system, right, CFS. So concurrent force system, the when all the forces are passing through a common point, it is called as concurrent force system. So you can observe over here, all the forces are passing through a single point, that is a point of concurrency. F1, F2, F3, F4, F5 या सगळ्या पॉइंट मधनं हा हे फोर्सेस हे एकाच पॉइंट मधनं त्या ठिकाणी जात आहे. Then therefore it is called as concurrent force system. Note over there, if the resultant exists, it is necessary to be a force. Very important point. Concurrent force system मध्ये resultant हा फोर्सच असू शकतो. आपण मगाशी बघितलं की रिझल्टंट कॅन बी अ फोर्स ऑर अ मोमेंट, पण CFS जर असेल तर रिझल्टंट हा नेसेसरीली हा त्या ठिकाणी फोर्सच असणार आहे. का बरं? कारण सगळे फोर्सेस एकाच पॉइंट मध्ये जात असल्यामुळे देर इज नो परपेंडिक्युलर डिस्टन्स अवेलेबल. देअरफॉर यू कॅनॉट एबल टू कॅल्क्युलेट द मुवमेंट. देअरफॉर मुवमेंट डज नॉट एक्झिस्ट. रिझल्टंट हे दोनच पार्ट मध्ये येऊ शकतं. एक काय तर फोर्स, दुसरं काय तर मुवमेंट. पण मुवमेंट CFS मध्ये नसतंच, त्यामुळे काय राहिलं तर फोर्स. देअरफॉर रिझल्टंट जर असेल कन्करंट फोर्स सिस्टीम मध्ये तर तो नेसेसरीली त्या ठिकाणी फोर्सच असतो. ना रिझल्टंट हा फोर्स असतो. फोर्स कॅन बी डिफाइंड बाय मॅग्नेट्यूड, डायरेक्शन अँड पॉइंट ऑफ ऍप्लिकेशन. कशातनं जाणार फोर्स? रिझल्टंट फोर्स विल पास थ्रू द सेम पॉइंट ऑफ कन्करन्सी. म्हणजे त्या ठिकाणी तुम्हाला वेगळं पॉइंट ऑफ ऍप्लिकेशन ऑफ फोर्स कॅल्क्युलेट करायची गरज नाही, वॅरिग्नॉन्स थिअरम वापरायची गरज नाही. का? कारण CFS मध्ये सगळे फोर्सेस हे एकाच पॉइंट मधनं जात असल्यामुळे त्यांचा रिझल्टंट पण सिंगल पॉइंट मधनं जाणार आहे आणि त्यामुळे रिझल्टंट फोर्स हा फोर्सच असणार आणि तो सिंगल पॉइंट मधनं म्हणजे पॉइंट ऑफ कन्करन्सी मधनच जाणार. देन बॉडी कॅन बी आयडियलाइज ॲज अ पार्टिकल. व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट नोट. कन्करंट फोर्स सिस्टीम मध्ये आपण त्या पूर्ण रिजिड बॉडीला एक पार्टिकल म्हणून कन्सिडर करू शकतो आणि त्या पार्टिकल वरती होणाऱ्या फोर्सचा इम्पॅक्ट हा सगळ्या पार्टिकल वरती कन्सिडर करू शकतो. सो वी कॅन आयडियलाइज द that particular point or different points of that particular body as a particle. हे फक्त CFS मध्ये शक्य आहे. PFS GFS मध्ये वी कॅनॉट आयडियलाइज अ बॉडी ॲज अ पार्टिकल. इथं आपण पार्टिकल म्हणून कन्सिडर करू शकतो. म्हणजे जर अख्खं विमान असेल आणि त्या विमानावरचा मला फोर्सेस कॅल्क्युलेट करायचे आणि सगळे फोर्सेस हे विमानाच्या एकाच पॉइंट मधनं जात असतील तर आय कॅन कन्सिडर दॅट कम्प्लीट एरोप्लेन ॲज अ सिंगल पार्टिकल, सिंगल पॉइंट. कारण ते सगळे फोर्सेस एकाच पॉइंट मध्ये जातात, त्याच्यावरती होणारा इम्पॅक्ट म्हणजे पूर्ण त्या बॉडीवरती होणारा इम्पॅक्ट आहे. त्यामुळे बॉडी कॅन बी आयडियलाइज ॲज अ पार्टिकल इन कन्करंट फोर्स सिस्टीम. द इक्वेशन्स ऑफ इक्विलिब्रियम आर in two-dimensional CFS system Fx0 and Fy0, summation Fx0. Summation means algebraic addition, F means force, X means along X direction. जर आपण साइन कन्व्हेन्शनचा वापर करून समेशन घेतलं कोणाचं, फोर्सचं, कुठल्या डायरेक्शनला, एक्स डायरेक्शनला, तर जर त्या सगळ्याचं समेशन 0 येत असेल, समेशन Fy 0 येत असेल, the body is in equilibrium for the two-dimensional CFS system. These are the two equations of equilibrium for two-dimensional CFS system. Whereas three-dimensional CFS system, one more additional equation will give rise, that is nothing but Fx0, Fy0 and Fz, that is the third direction come into picture, equal to 0. So if all the particles, all the forces of the body are passing through single point, we are calling it as concurrent force system. In concurrent force system, the resultant should be a necessarily a force. Resultant force will pass through point of concurrency and body can be idealized as a particle. So these are the equations of equilibrium. And then comes the parallel force system. You can observe parallel force system is a PFS when the forces are parallel to each other, right? Parallel means the distance between the two forces keeping constant throughout the line of action of the force. Then we are calling it as parallel force system. So you can observe over here, there will be two types, like parallel and unlike parallel. If the two forces which are parallel to each other, they are heading towards the same direction, we are calling it as, what you call it as, like parallel force system. If they are not heading towards the same direction, they are equally oppositely going in the two different directions, we are calling it as unlike parallel force system. You can observe over here, the resultant can be a force or a movement. That is the biggest point of difference between CFS and PFS. CFS मध्ये resultant can be a force only. PFS मध्ये parallel force system मध्ये resultant can be a force or a movement. Body cannot be idealized as a particle कारण सगळ्या forces एकाच पॉइंट मधनं जात नसल्यामुळे body cannot be idealized as a particle. The resultant force is line of action to be located by Varignon's theorem. Varignon's theorem ने तुम्हाला line of action identify करायला लागते आणि equations of equilibrium are Fx0, Fy0, Mz equal to 0 आणि तुमच्या थ्री डायमेन्शनल फोर्स सिस्टीम मध्ये हे चेंजेस होतात. सो दॅट्स इट फॉर टुडेज लेक्चर. आय थिंक वी हॅव बिट लेट टुडे, only 2-3 minutes are remaining. So for the evening lecture, be on time, right? And I think this particular platform is safe, though that it has been mentioned by various news that Zoom platform is not safe. We are using the waiting room facility, we are using all the security features which are there in Zoom. If we find a better application other than Zoom, for next few lectures I will communicate through it by mail. So that's it for the day. If you are having any query, you can ask me right now. All these notes will be provided to you by mail. And don't forget to register for engineering mechanics module, which is there. A separate module has been generated, a separate link has been generated. So it is a request from my side, ज्यांना ज्यांना लेक्चर खरंच करायचे त्यांनीच फक्त त्या ठिकाणी रजिस्टर करा, so that I cannot I'm not mailing to any other person who has already registered for link number 1. So that's it from my side. If you are having any kind of question, you can ask me right now. Do you have any question? So we'll be meeting today at 5 o'clock, and probably there will be 2 consecutive meetings I will be planning. So 30 किंवा 40 मिनिटच्या 2 मीटिंग्स त्या ठिकाणी प्लॅन करतो. कंजिक्युटिव्ह मीटिंग्स राहतील, कंटिन्युअस मीटिंग राहतील, आणि त्याच्यानंतर I will be sending you the link for test, today's test. That's it from my side. Thank you very much.